Hey everybody, this is the Beat Show from The Voice, La Voz MMA. We have a special guest, a man, a myth, the legend. You've seen him act, you've seen him in big money fights. Mr. Las Vegas himself, Stitch Duran. ¿Cómo estás, carnal? How are you?
Pues a toda that, bro. It's good to be here, man. My first interview in Cancun, so that's pretty badass.
Man, well, Mexicans, we love boxing, and you're essentially Mr. Box, Mr. Boxer, because like I said, you've been in movies and all the big fights. So yeah, we just wanted to get to know you a bit. So where were you born, Stitch? Where are you originally from?
Hey, you asked me if I spoke Spanish, and I speak Chicano, right? But I'm very proud of my heritage, right? And number one, in my mom's side, they're from the state of Chihuahua, and my dad's side from Guanajuato. And but I grew up as a farm worker in the Central Valley of California, which is for the most part the agricultural capital of the world. I told people, if you hate it, man, I picked it for you. Seriously. And I was born and raised in a migrant camp. My birth certificate and
Wow.
my address is CPC number 12. So, bro, I grew up a puro farm worker. And then I moved
Wow.
to Planada, which is 3 miles away from the migrant camp. And Planada is it was like 1,500 people, but all raza, puro farm workers. And some gabachos, And so that was my start, bro. I always wanted to play American baseball. And I walked on to a college because I played all throughout high school and all that. And I walked on to a college, but it was 9 miles away, and I'd have a car, and I would go to school with friends, and after school they would leave, and I'd hitchhike home, and so I didn't know about grants, I didn't know about scholarships, so I went to the recruiter, joined the Air Force in 1972. I joined in 1974. They stationed me in Thailand, and that's where everything started, bro. I said if I ever went to the Orient, I'd want to study the martial arts. That was during the Bruce Lee era,
Oh,
and
okay.
so yeah, but Thailand, shit, I didn't know what Thailand was, and I had some camaradas that took me downtown to Banchan to see some fights, and got through a kick and knocked the guy out. And I said, "Bing, I'm in." So that was the start of my career.
All right. Wow.
You know,
Okay.
brother, yeah. Now I got a great history. They're finishing up a documentary on my life. It's called From the Fields to the Garden, because the fields are the farm worker that I'm proud of, and the garden is my goal was to make it to Madison Square Garden. I've been
Oh,
there
that's so
10 times.
poetic. That's
Yeah, yeah.
well, when is it coming out, man? Is it on
You know
Netflix?
what? I'm working with Nate Diaz next week, right? So we're doing some good footage, B footage of me mingling with the crowds, just B footage, and then my final interviews. But we're working with Michael B. Jordan's people, and I'm taking it to a level high, high level. There's other people, so hopefully, once we finish that, do the editing and whatever you do, the marketing, 6 months, I'd be happy with that. So,
Wow,
but it's
wow,
pretty
wow.
badass. Yeah, it's pretty badass. They went to my hometown, Granada, and as you see the fight, you'll see the fights on my collar because I have advertisement sponsors and all that, right? But
Right,
on my
right.
collar, I have the name Planada, and it's not for the world to know what Planada is. It's for the people of Planada to know that I'm thinking about them, and that's the number one position, bro, in marketing. Because when
Yeah.
I'm working on the fighter, the camera's coming this way, and number one shot, but it's for them.
Yeah, you got to have that advertisement in the back. You got to get
For
it.
them, yeah. Only for them.
That's what's up. It's kind of like real estate. Hey, this piece of property is hot right
Yeah.
now, and so many eyeballs are on it. Yes, of course,
Oh,
right?
it's all real estate because when I work with sponsors, their product placement is based on the economics. This you get more exposure here, you get easier exposure here, the back for sure. So yeah, I have different prices with different locations.
Oh, all right. Very,
Yeah.
very well. Now, in that documentary, I gotta ask, will the Masvidal kill shot brawl that happened, will that make it to the
Nah, I wasn't even there.
Oh, okay,
Nah,
okay.
yeah, a lot of problems. Those ain't mine, bro. I stay away from shit like that. And to me, it's stupid. You know,
Yeah, well, I mean, they're wild boys, they're from the hood,
hundred
they're
percent.
wild boys.
Yeah, they're just grown up guys that were street fighting then, and now they can street fight now. But and like Jorge, Jorge had to be careful because these guys come in with 12 weapons, and Jorge's not
Oh,
familiar. Jorge's a friend of mine, Capatillo.
yeah, yeah.
He got in there.
Capatillo, Capatillo, he landed a nice cross on kill shot. I was like, damn, that was pretty good
Yeah,
technique. He rolled his shoulder, followed through.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I said, nah, man, these guys will put you to sleep and they'll wake you up and buy you a beer.
You got to have more security, or you got to be conscious because most of the people that go to those things can fight, man.
Yeah,
And
but yeah, yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. Everybody that is there for that purpose has some kind of combat experience,
yes,
martial arts
man.
combat. Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
fight.
So back to your movie. One final question: will Dana White be the villain? No, I'm just kidding. It's okay. I'm
No,
just
no,
kidding,
no.
man.
Listen, there's a part. I'll send it to you. When we're done, I'll send you the trailer. But yeah, there's a part in there where he's saying, Stitch and I were never friends. That's still kind of the great. People stop me all the time, bro, all the time, and
What?
associate me with the UFC or tell me, hey man, F Dana, a lot of respect for you, and you spoke up for the fighters, and
Yeah.
so that's that position. So I'm fine everywhere I go. Still, it's been going on 10 years since I've been gone, and
You
people still
you
associate me with that.
we look at you and you're like one of the first guys that were like, I'm not just gonna go with this narrative just because it's him or whatever. So I mean, we really appreciate it. I mean, I say we as like the MMA community and the combat community. Is there a reason, Stitch, why there hasn't been like a Muhammad Ali act for MMA? Is
I'm glad you brought that up. No, there's not. Unfortunately, the same shit that's going on in boxing is now happening in MMA, and that's one of the things that I am bringing to the table is education. And but to that point, about 23 years ago, I put a film together. I was nobody. This young guy just graduated from the American Film Institute, John Barnhouse. He read an article where I wanted to do videos, and the videos I always wanted to do is videos on showing you how to wrap hands, basic stuff. But we got together on a zero budget, and we ended up getting so many interviews that we made a documentary called Boxer's Nightmare, and it deals with all the shit that fighters go through. I have Mike Tyson, Richard Steele, Joe Cortez, Mills Lane, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, Fernando Vargas. I got Chuck Bodak. I got all the Emmanuel Stewart, and I never did nothing with it. So John passed away within the last year, and I looked at it and I think, wow, everybody here are Hall of Famers. I got Joe Lewis's daughter. They're all Hall of Famers, and they all talked about the problems that were going on then. I brought them up, and they had answers. And I look at it, and nothing's ever changed. Now it includes MMA. So that being said, just at the fights I was at last weekend in Miami, I gave it to the director from ESPN. I said, I would love to use some of these interviews and get new ones and find out where there's been no change. Mike Tyson, very simply, and this is Mike before he got his tattoos, bro. Show you how badass. And well, Mike, when I asked him, what do we do for these fighters? And he said, and he said this. He says, look, guys like me, Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, Oscar De La Hoya, when we fight, just get some of our money. Let's give it to these guys. We don't need it. We're taken care of. So see, that's a simple solution if they want to donate, right? But then another guy says, and we're talking about pension plan, we're talking about insurance, we're talking about dementia pugilistica, dehydration, all these shit that we brought up, bro. It blew my mind. So anyway, John passed away, and I hadn't seen this in over 20 years, and it just so I'm bringing it back out. So I gave it to ESPN, but a lot of those points that you brought up, man, is it's a hurt business. Eddie Mustafa Muhammad in the documentary, and I'll send it to you also. He says the ultimate goal of a fighter is to render his opponent unconscious. So that saying is the knockout is the best way to win, but a knockout is what creates long-term damage. So
right. Oh man. Well, yeah, I definitely got to check that out.
yeah, and let me add also, hey, Bruno, the reason that I'm pushing to it, and it when I did the interview for the UFC, that was done because they had called me. Well, what happened? My parents fought for the rights of farm workers, the Cesar Chavez movement, and all that. And Cesar Chavez walked from Delano to Sacramento, and they walked through our little town of Planada, and the families put them up, and my sister and my mom continued to walk with them. So we're deep into the farm worker situation, and so when they called me to do an interview, how the Reebok deal affected the Cutmen, I thought of my parents. I said, you know what, they fought for our rights and it's working. So I did the interview and it was very politically correct, but the shit went viral. It was all over the world. All over the world. It's crazy. I'm getting calls from all over, and I
Well,
do.
everybody remembered the raw deal. Man, the fighters
Yeah.
got a raw deal with that Reebok deal.
Yeah. Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah. I mean, all
Horrible.
the like you, and you have your little I mean, your patches and your endorsement deals and everything. Jeez, man, I was like, that's a major blow to these, and these guys already don't have it easy. You know what I mean? It's just
No, these guys were. I was making more money through my sponsors. I needed the UFC. They were paying shit. I needed the UFC to make my money through sponsors. And see, when I would get sponsors. I would negotiate for you and the other cut man. You wouldn't get what I would get, but you got something. And if you get two or three different cut men, well, these fighters are making 50, 100,000 a fight, and they just with no communicating with the athletes, they just went exclusive Reebok, and that created a firestorm.
Yeah, it's just man, it was just I felt really bad. And everybody was I remember everybody was just trashing these. You remember those the fucked up jerseys? They Gilbert,
Yeah,
Anderson, Jose
yeah,
Anderson or something.
jacked them all, yeah, yeah, jacked them all up.
Yeah, yeah. It's just
And that's what they were looking like, soccer teams.
man, it was just I think Mike Perry said it, which is another shout out to Mike Perry, violent man. I think he said it as well. They want to be kind of like the NFL, but they don't do NFL things. You know what I mean? NFL, I mean, they give 50% of the revenue, and that's just probably just way over my pay grade and everything. But I just wanted to mention that. Yeah, man,
No,
the fighters really do need to get taken care of, man.
100%, bro. It's and that's what I try to educate fighters in the gym all the time. Young ones, if you're looking for a cut man, do this, do that. But even on legal terms, I try to tell these guys, man, be careful and make sure you get it on paper. And uh, if you have any questions, ask me. I got a lot of answers because of all the information I got from these guys, not from me, from all these legends.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe Lewis's daughter. I just finished sending the guy from ESPN a rebuttal. He said he's going to watch it today, and I said, I even have Joe Lewis's daughter, and she ends up with she ends the film saying every major sport has a pension plan, has an insurance plan, and then she ends it by saying, "Why not boxing? Why not boxing?" And that's how the film ends. So you know, so
Yeah, man. Yeah, shoot that trailer over to me. I love anything that's
yeah.
combat related, man. I love
My
it.
grandson, say
Hey, hola chiquitín, hello.
hi. Okay, bye. Oh, sit right there.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, just
so you're
yeah,
at home right now.
huh?
So you're at home right now.
I'm packing right now, bro. As we were speaking, I
Oh,
stopped getting. So I'm gonna work with 5 fighters that night. Uh, so it's gonna be fun. But Nate and I'm working with Shane Mosley Jr. and Chris Avila, and
Chris
then
Avila's
there's a
great
couple of the
too.
guys from Nate's team that their agent just asked me if I would wrap their hands, and so I'm wrapping 5 fighters' hands. Another day in the office, you know. So
Fantastic. I mean, you're living the life, and more
yeah,
importantly, Stitch, you always have the best seat in the house, man.
hundred
You
percent,
All
hundred
right.
percent.
So I wanted to ask, because you've dealt with so many fighters, man. Have you ever encountered a fighter who was maybe like too tough for his own good? I mean, you look at him, he's hurt, confused, tired, upset, emotional. Did you ever want to just throw in the towel but didn't?
I've done all the above, bro. There's a time and place. My job as a cut man is not to give instructions, but I've been in this game long enough to know that, there's a time and place where no mas. That's the rule.
Yes,
You can't go no more, bro.
no
And
mas.
I made decisions for the fighters. I know Andre Durrell, when he fought Jose Esqueregi. And Andre, this was the second fight. And the first fight, that's when his uncle went and cracked Esqueregi in the chin, remember?
Right,
And so the
right.
second fight, Andre's taking the kind of shots that I consider giving long-term damage. So you punch here and it comes out here. So the doctors are sitting together, they're talking, and I don't know what they're talking about, but I get up there and I'm working on Andre, and I said, look, the doctors are thinking of stopping the fight. Do you want to continue? And he gives me a real slight no. I said, oh, stop. I stopped it. And Virgil Hunter, the coach, and his grandfather, no, no, one more round, one more round. But as soon as he said no, I said, no, I'm not going to let him go because he's already beat. Well, the next day he called me, him and his wife at 8 in the morning. And they thanked me for stopping the fight because he says, I just had nothing with me. But when I worked with David Benavides, and as I'm walking out of the MGM, I see him. I haven't seen him in years, bro. And
Right.
he comes up to me and he gives me a hug. Oh, Steve, what's up, man? Listen, thanks for everything. Listen, man, I'm healthy. I got a great job. I love you, man. You know, so those are the stories that make my job. It's not even a job.
All
It's an
right,
adventure,
man.
bro. You know. Yeah.
Like I said, you always have like the best seats in the house, and you witness the best fights,
Yeah.
historical fights. I mean, geez, there's so many stories that you've watched unfold as the round, progresses. Who wants more? Who's trained more? Who's
Yeah.
adapted more? It's just, man, very, very good life to live, Stitch. Another question is, hey man, what's the biggest payday or gift you've received from like, a fighter? Like, hey, good looking out, Stitch, man. You really, you know what I mean? Can you
Yeah.
remember or recall a time?
Man, it's never been about the money, bro. You know, I just tell people if you do it for the money, you do it for the wrong reasons. But working with the Klitschko's for 8 years was quite rewarding. You know, they were good people, man. And everything was
Yeah,
top of the line. And thank God, you know, I've been blessed to work with a lot of good people.
the
So
Klitschko's the Klitschko brothers, man. They've always, geez, they've always been like a little mysterious. I remember, I
yeah,
remember,
they're Russian. Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah. Remember when he had that USB and he's like, "I have the Joshua Anthony results." I'm like, these guys are just they're bonkers. But I guess when you're a boxer, you need to be a little bit a little bit
There's
psycho at times.
there's a little bit of everything that these guys have, man, you know. And you know, at the end of the day, I tell them, you know, these guys they're modern day gladiators, literally. And
Right.
but deep inside, they're all babies, and my job is to take care of the baby, you know. And
That's right.
so yeah, you know, that's the way it is. Let me
I mean,
no, go ahead.
yeah, of course they trust you, of course, right? Hey, I wanted to ask, man, because those Rocky movies. Is it true, Stitch, that if it's already puffed up, like remember the Cowboy Cerrone or one of these broken
Yeah,
portable bones? Is it true that when you cut it and then you release the blood, is it true that that helps, or is it this movie thing?
that's Hollywood, man. I told Sylvester Stallone, I said, man, I said, you know how many times I've had to dispel that myth that if cut me Mick and it'll bleed out, you know, and yeah, that's might have been the mentality. That's why I try to teach all the time because there's so many dummies that will practice that, not knowing because they see some other dummy doing it. And but I said, you know what? I said, people always ask me, do they do that? I said, no. And the reason why, number one, you're not a doctor, right? And
Yeah.
number two, you're doing surgery in a filthy place, right? And number three, if it's swollen like this, when you cut it, it's still going to be swollen, but now you're going to get blood in the eyes. So that's a negative. And so, no, it won't happen. At that point, if you can't see, you know, then you stop the fight.
All right. Well, thanks for dispelling that myth because
Yeah, yeah.
there was a couple of guys I asked, I was, because where I trained, I told them, I was like, hey man, I think I got stitched today. They were like, okay, ask him this. So thank you for debunking
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Stitch, what's your favorite Mexican dish, man?
Bro, you know what? I like tacos de tripa, you
Tacos.
know.
That's surprising. Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
You're
Hey,
like
I'm old school, man. My dad
I
used to,
the
my
mustache
dad
threw
used
me
to,
off. I would have thought maybe like carne asada, northern type Mexico, but
yeah.
tacos de
My
tripa.
wife makes enchiladas, New Mexico style, the ones that are stacked, and those are always good. But yeah, a mí me gustan las tripas. My dad
Excellent.
used to make them and make them as tacos. Yeah,
All right, fantastic.
but it's
Last
funny after I live here in Vegas, right? So after fights, I go home but I always stop at Roberto's Tacos and take something home. You know, if it's
Yeah,
not Manculo, it's something
they
else.
got authentic.
100%. Yeah.
All right, that's a
Yeah.
good. Got to check out that spot.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
there's plenty. Yeah.
all right. So la última pregunta en español, Stitch. Estás en un bar y tú necesitas tres tipos contigo porque se va a armar una bronca, se va a armar un pleito, se va a armar una pelea. ¿Cuáles son los tres peleadores que necesitas a tu lado?
Oh, that was an easy one. Vanderlei Silva, Chuck Liddell, estos cabrones son, y Fedor Emelianenko, esos cabrones. ¿Qué más quiere uno?
Hey, esos
Y
son
los
los viejas
conozco todos.
escuelas, los duros.
Y tengo historia con todos, los tres. Vanderlei me dio el nombre Santana.
Santana, ¿y eso por qué?
Porque digo, cuando íbamos a Brasil, fuimos a Japan para Pride y les andaba haciendo un talent, demonstration, poniendo vendas y me dijeron, pues en ese tiempo estaba más joven, que te miras como Carlos Santana, so, los brasileros con Santana.
Santana, the guitar dude,
Yeah,
okay,
Carlos
Black
Santana,
Magic Woman Santana,
Black
okay.
Magic Woman, and aquí tocan en Las Vegas.
Oh, really? He's got like a
Yeah,
weekly show at
yeah,
some kind of
at
resort.
the Mandalay
Okay.
Bay, the House of Blues,
Oh,
Mandalay Bay.
oh man, that's
Yeah.
like I said, man, you are living the life, well known, and of course, most importantly, I think you did it because well, you like the job, and
Yeah.
everything else pretty much came secondly. But um, thanks a lot for your time, Stitch. I know that you're busy with Nate Diaz, and yeah, man, good luck. Good luck with the fights. I think it's next week, is it?
Yeah, next Saturday. I get there. I
Right.
leave tomorrow. They got the press conference tomorrow, and leading up to then the weigh-ins be Friday, and then chingazos on Saturday. So
Fantastic. All right. So, everyone, before we leave, Stitch, how do these people get in contact with you? Because well, you're a fantastic cut man. We know you got seminars, maybe a documentary coming out. ¿Cómo la gente te puede contactar, Stitch?
at Stitch Duran, and yeah, at Stitch Duran, and it's funny you say that because you're talking about seminars. I did a seminar in Mexico City. I did one uh, in Greece. I've done one in different areas, Querétaro, here in the United States, but I can't do them all the time because I'm always traveling, right?
Right.
So just 2 weeks ago, I put a video out called Giving the Fighter One More Round. So it's an instructional video you could log on to and learn how to wrap hands for boxing and how to work the swelling and the tools and the Medicaid, everything you need to know to take care of these guys. Because it's not fair for these guys not to know, and it's only $50, bro. It's no nada,
Sí.
But when I used to do seminars, I used to charge a lot more, but it's not for me to make money. It's for these guys to learn how to take care of these fighters. And before we close, I told you, I always try to educate young fighters and I always tell these guys, if you're looking for a cut man, and if he puts a swab in his mouth or in his ear, look for another cut man. That's old school stupid. But also ask them the medication that we use for the cuts. Ask them what the medication. It's the adrenaline chloride 1000. It's ask them what it does to stop the bleeding. If they tell you it's a coagulant, that it coagulates it, get another cut man. That's the wrong answer. The medication we use, the adrenaline chloride 1000, is a vessel constrictor. So when you see me work on a cut, I'll squeeze it to get the blood out of the little veins. I'll put the medication there, absorbed into the veins, and it closes it. So if they tell you it's a coagulant, get another cut man. But there's a lot of guys like that right out there. So that's why education, bro.
There's so much science behind it. Normal people just don't like. I told you, normal people think, oh, you just cut them, and then the blood will go out, and just most people just don't have any idea what it takes, man.
Right. No, there's an art to it. Yeah.
Excellent, very very well. Stitch Duran, thank you once again for taking the time. And I'll see you. Hopefully, I'll see you soon. You'll come back with us.
Anytime, bro. Yeah. I got stories. I got a shitload of stories. So
are you crazy? Please don't leave me like that. I wanted to know about the Pride Japanese Yakuza. You mentioned Vanderlei Silva, and I really really want to know, man, because Boz Rutan was down here a few, well, here in Playa del Carmen for Karate Combat a few months ago, and I asked him, hey, to share a story, and I just, it's just something that I really love. But maybe next time when you have a little bit more time,
Yeah, I
Stitch,
got time. If you got time, I got another 10, 15 minutes if you got
come
it.
on, please tell me, please tell me a
So,
pride
which guy you
story.
want to know? Vandalay Silva? I'll tell you a story on Vandalay.
Sure.
So, I knew him from the Pride days, right? Why? The reason I went to Japan for Pride was of course Josh Barnett. When Josh, he was a world champion in the UFC, and then he tested positive for steroids, so they let him go, and he went to Pride. So he brought me along as a cut man. He paid for me to be his cut man, and everybody would want me to wrap their hands over there. And John says, nah. He goes, if you guys want to wrap your hands, you got to pay $500. I'd pay to bring them. I'd make 2, 3 grand, right? So Vandalay Silva, like they gave me the nickname Santana. I met him there during Pride, and Shogun and all these guys. I met them all, and we became friends, But when he fought Chuck Liddell, that's why I say Chuck and Vandalay would be 3 of the top guys I would take. When they fought, it was December the 29th at the MGM here in Las Vegas, and it was my birthday. So Vandalay and I were already friends, right? And I saw him like a week before, and I wish him good luck. And then I said, look, Vandalay, I'm gonna give you good karma, man. It's my birthday. I'm gonna wish you good luck, right? And I leave, because psychology for these guys, they're babies. They sometimes they need that. So I'm working with Chuck Liddell, and Leon Tevez is working with Vandalay, and bro, they're cracking each other. One of my top 2 fights. I mean, you can just hear them punching each other, and they're cracking each other, and it's a toe-to-toe fight. And at the end of the fight, I clean up Chuck. He's cut. I clean him up. Then I go across the ring to see how Vandalay's doing. And Leon Tabs is working on him, and his face is all swollen, bro. And I said, Vandalay, how you doing? He says, Steve, no, I'm good, I'm good. And bro, listen, he says, Steve, happy birthday. You imagine that shit?
Wow. In the middle of,
Yeah.
he's in the middle of, oh my God.
One of the toughest fights of his life. And he says, Steve, happy birthday. Yeah,
Wow.
blew my mind.
Yes, because I mean, Stitch, we know you're cool and everything, but dude, if I'm in the middle of a fight, I'm not gonna be
No,
thinking about,
no. I'm telling you,
wow.
that's what makes it special. Caleb Plant when he fought Benavides, uh, I went in the gym in the dressing room, and we're just waiting. We got our sweats on, and Caleb walks by me. I don't know, stops and he gives me a hug and says, "I love you." And I got a picture of that. And but those moments, I'm telling you, those are priceless.
Okay, wow. That's now
Yeah, well, you keep in mind, bro. These guys, when we're there, that's in the old days. That was called the dungeon. So the next step is throwing chingazos.
yeah, man, geez.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
um now going to these events and everything else, and of course I'm sure that you've worked in gyms before as well.
yeah.
Have you ever seen like any MMA gym bully at a gym? I mean, was there a fighter who trained that had that reputation? Oh man, he's always a fucking bully or whatever. I remember, Hector Lombard had that reputation down in Temecula with Dan Henderson,
Yeah.
but I think that's the only one I've ever heard of. Do you know of any like MMA gym bullies?
Not one, man. Even in boxing, because keep in mind they're all gladiators, bro.
Yeah.
And they're all under the same umbrella doing the same thing. And yeah, you get some guys a little bit more macho, but you take that shell out of the gym, and they're decent people, you know. And so man,
Hey Stitch, who's the greatest Mexican fighter? Boxer or MMA or this
ooh, bro, this wow, who do you see the Chavez? You got to throw him up there, Ricardo Lopez.
I always
Salvador
thought of
Sanchez being young, but he proved himself in those short times that he fought. But yeah, Ricardo. We were talking about Ricardo Lopez last week at the fights in Miami. How much of a beautiful stance he had, and and
he doesn't get enough recognition or love.
that's because he was
He was
small.
great too.
Yeah. But I told Julio Cesar Chavez, I said, ¿sabes qué? He was doing commentary in one of the fights. I said, quiero que sepas que la primer pelea título mundial que trabajé estuvo contigo en Monterrey, México, con Tony el Tigre Lopez. It was my first world title fight. I've done fucking thousands now, bro. But now he sees me, he gives me a hug, you know. So that's kind
Yeah,
of cool. Yeah, that's my
absolute
first world
stud,
title fight.
man.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, yeah, absolute man. Julio Cesar Chavez, absolute stud. I love Salvador as
Sanchez,
well. Yeah, Salvador Sanchez as well. There's just a
too
bunch
many.
of Mexican gritty fighters always coming out here, man. But
Yeah,
yes,
I worked with Yuri Boy Campas. Remember him?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
Yuri Boy was a bad dude when they go to body shots. Well, I worked with Will Hernandez from Sacramento. He was fighting him in Tijuana. And
yes,
shoot, I went just to go meet or to see Yuri Boy Campa. You know, he would come out with the Indian with the deer head and
yes.
era indio and all that. Anyway, he had 100 something fights también, but knockouts. I got to work with him against Hector Macho Camacho Jr., you know. So that was, for me, I was just honored.
Yeah, part of the pageantry or part of the show is the walkouts. I remember you remember that Baez, I think his name was Mexican
Yeah, Jorge
boxer.
Paez, yeah.
Yes, he
Oh, he was a
walked he
clown.
with with the gown, with the wedding gown.
Mhm.
Um it's missing, man. You know what I mean? Like some kind of pageantry, a little bit of show, because it's a big fight. You know what I mean? Yes. Or what's his face? King Nassim, or
Yeah,
Nasir,
yeah.
the carpet. Remember the
Yeah,
carpet
yeah, I
ride?
remember that. Yeah, when
Yeah.
he fought Michael Antonio Barrera at the
Yes.
MGM there, right? So he's coming
Yes.
down like this. All the Rastas throwing beer at him, bro. King, I felt sorry for him. I said, "Oh no!" But they're throwing beer at him and everything. And
A
yeah, it
com-
was a trip.
complete showman.
Yeah.
Do you have a special walkout that you've had with a fighter?
Nah, you know what? They've all been tremendous, but you know, with the Klitschko's walking out, they were just so massive, you know, and in Europe and Germany and in Russia, they would have magnificent shows and all that, but it would be so loud with these guys that it would just be a buzz.
I
So
mean,
loud.
speaking of big shows, it sounds like the Saudis are taking over boxing. I mean, have you heard the rumor about he's gonna fight Golden Boy? He's gonna buy Golden Boy and these other promotions, and then he's gonna have like all the big boxing promotions under one umbrella type thing. Did you hear about that?
Well, yeah, of course I've heard about it. You know, people have been talking about it, and we'll see. You know, it's a lot harder of a job than is anticipated. And then you look at it, what level of business are you going to be doing? Is it just the promotional boxing, or are you going to start bringing in insurance? You're going to start bringing in health plans, stuff like that. You know, education. You know, are you going to umbrella everything that needs to be done to run a corporation? So what he's doing a national or a worldwide corporation. But in doing that, you just can't do it like this. You know, so we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of logistics involved,
Oh,
but
too
I
many.
mean, now that I think about it, I don't really think that these guys I don't think they really duck each other. I can't recall one that's well, I mean, Benavidez and Canelo, but that's kind of controversial
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Canelo's a bit older now, you know what I mean? And he sees that young tiger.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. That I worked with David Benavidez. Can I tell you that story real quick? All
yeah,
right.
please, man. Yeah.
So with David Benavidez, about 10 when I was still with the UFC. So it's been like 10 years. We did a show at the O2 Arena in London, and we're on the way to the weigh-ins in the bus, and I'm sitting next to Jose Benavidez, David's father, and he's trained Ryan Bader and some of the guys from Arizona, and he's telling me about his two sons. They're both going to be world champs. Well, you hear that shit all the time. Well, going fast forward, when Ugas fought Earl Spence in Dallas, I saw the three of them, and I told them, I want you guys to know, your dad said both of you guys are going to be champs. So that was the start of our introduction. Then Jose did the Creed movie with me for 6 weeks. And
Mm.
so anyway, when Cato Plant fought then David Benavidez, they send me to their dressing room to watch the father wrap his hands. And the father knows I know how to wrap hands, right? And
Right.
when you go there, my job is to basically look for kinks in the armor. And so you can see he got a little nervous, because he knows that's my specialty, right? And we're talking, and then finally, he's kind of getting tape between the fingers, but he's twisting it, and so which is fine, But then I say, hey man, why are you doing that? Hey man, hey, F you, man, me dice, you know.
Whoa.
So I took him off his track, right? And David's looking like, I ain't got no dog in this fight, man. After the fight, he apologized. Anyway, so that was we're competitors. You know, even though we're friends, we're looking for little kinks in the armor. And but a week and a half before the fight, he called me because David had got cut in training, and he asked me to come and be the cut man for David, and I agreed, and that's how we ended up getting that. But yeah, the Canelo and David fight, you won't happen because Canelo's done his job. You know, he's reached that mountaintop, and why go after a young lion? It's your scenario of the young lion over the veteran lion, or maybe the old. Not that he's old, but you know, you can beat anything, but you can't beat time. And then you got to look at those and be fact. David is going to create his own status, you know, and he's good enough.
Yeah. He's fantastic. Stitch,
Yeah,
I have 1 minute left on
yeah,
Zoom. Uh thank you again, man.
sure.
But yeah, maybe we can have you back some other time.
No seas culé, suscríbete.